Hello guys, my name is SVB and I'm back with another video, and today we're gonna have the first installment in what I'll be calling Lessons from Overwatch League, where I'll be breaking down plays, strategies and general tactics used in Overwatch League to try and help you guys understand what went on and also maybe find a few things to put into your comp games. And I'm going to be starting with the bane of everybody's existence, and that is how to stop a snowball, particularly on 2CP maps, and doubly so when you have an ult disadvantage. Now, I don't think I'd be out of line in saying that 2CP is probably the least favorite map mode of the player base in Overwatch, and this is probably for a few reasons. Now personally, I actually really enjoy watching 2CP, but I know it can be really frustrating to play because you can end up holding one point, particularly point A, for a long time, and then suddenly when you lose it, you end up getting snowballed right to point B. It takes the enemy team like 30 seconds and they've capped point B already. And so hopefully with the things that I can point out in this video, we can all go into our ladder games and maybe avoid that snowball happening to us as often as it seems to do. So let's get into it, guys. Now, what better way to start the first installment in a new series about Overwatch League than to do it with the first match of the 2019 season of Overwatch League. So here we have Game 3 from Philadelphia Fusion versus London Spitfire, the opening match for Season 2. Now this game takes place on Volskaya Industries, and as you can see, Philadelphia Fusion have already capped point A, or they're about to finish capping point A in a second, and they're looking to push into point B. Now as Carpe sets up to attack point B, I just want you guys to note the ult differences here. So on the Philadelphia side, we have Carpe with the Grav, EQO with the Rally, Poco with the Bomb, and Neptuno with the Sound Barrier. Now compare this to the other side, where London Spitfire only have a Transcendence and a D.Va Bomb, and they're sort of close to two ults, but they're not going to be online in time should Philadelphia decide to press the advantage and try to get this snowball cap. Now on paper, everything is set up for Philadelphia to just roll through London, use their ult advantage, and take point B within 20-30 seconds, building up a huge time bank. But I'm just going to let this clip play out, and you're going to see it's not going to play out that way. And the reason for that is simple. London play an aggressive defense, and I'll let you see what I mean. So as I play the clip, Carpe is looking to the high ground. He's setting up, trying to get a good position for a grab, maybe get a lot of damage down from the high ground where Zarya's can be uncontested. And already you're going to see here, Gesture jumps in, and this little danger icon lets you know that Fury, the D.Va for the London Spitfire, is about to drop the bomb on the Philadelphia Fusion as they're trying to set up and take this high ground. You can see Carpe gives it a wave because he knows he has a bubble in hand. But look already how far the London Spitfire is set up. So previously, while they were sat back trying to lure Philadelphia in, now the Winston's on the high ground, the Zarya's on the high ground, the D.Va Bomb is down on the floor, the Lucio's up here. So London Spitfire already taking a really aggressive positioning, because the worst thing you can do on defense is let the enemy team come into you. And I'll get into that in a minute, but just let's see how the fight continues to play out. The D.Va Bomb doesn't land on anybody, so that's a bit of a whiff. And Philadelphia, recognizing this, start to push in again. Now you'll note in a second that just those couple of seconds have bought London enough time to build up a Primal Rage, and they're not going to give up on this aggressive defense strategy. So the fight plays out, Philadelphia come through the door, and you're going to see now in just about a second, here we go. Gesture pops the Primal Rage because he's been targeting down Neptuno, and you can see here, if I just remove my highlighting, you can see how low Neptuno's health bar was, and he was forced to pop the Sound Barrier because Gesture dove in aggressively, knowing that he had Primal Rage online. Not only that, he also forces EQO to pop Rally. So remember that at the start of this fight, London had very few resources. They had the Transcendence, they had a D.Va Bomb, and they have a Primal Rage about to come online. Now let's see how this plays out. So Gesture goes in deep, he draws the attention of Philadelphia Fusion. Meanwhile, Sado, a little bit out of sync with his team, tries to jump on Nuss, and he ends up getting burned down by Padoshin and the combination of the rest of the Spitfire here. So already, by being so aggressive and committing to the back line, Gesture is able to cause a bit of havoc in the Philadelphia Fusion, forcing a mistake from Sado, and now his team are 5v6. So the fight continues to play out. The Philadelphia now realize that without their main tank, they're probably best off backing up. So they start to disengage. Now at this point, as they head outside of the point, look at the ult difference now. So now we have London with both their support ults up, nearing a rally as well. Meanwhile, Philadelphia now only have their tank ults up, so they've burned all three of their support ults, and suddenly things aren't looking so rosy for them. But because it wasn't a full wipe, there's still the danger of a snowball, so let's see what continues to happen. Now Gesture runs off to spawn, and he switches to Reinhardt. So this gives Philadelphia a little bit of a window, because as you can see, there's no main tank in frame here. There's no big fat Winston to engage the fight as it happened last time. So that gives Philadelphia a chance to come in through the door. Now by the time Gesture actually makes it on the point, you can see here that Philadelphia are ready to fight. And already Sado is mid-animation of his jump. So now because London weren't the aggressors in this fight, they weren't able to play aggressive defense, and they weren't the ones who chose the moment of engagement, you're going to see what happens to them. So Sado jumps in, he drops a nice bubble, and what this does is isolate Gesture from the rest of his team. So you can see here, there's Gesture's shield, he's desperately holding it trying to go down, but Sado's bubble takes him out of LOS from his other healers, meaning that now Gesture's going to get isolated, he gets picked off quickly. Now we saw from the previous fight how dangerous it is to lose your main tank in the 3-3 meta. So London, recognizing this, quickly decide to back out. They decide to give up a little bit of point. Here's a bit of a bold grab from Carpe to try and isolate the Lucio, forcing out the sound barrier. That's a trade you'll make any day. Now London again lose another hero, and they're forced to commit to Transcendence. But remember that if this fight had taken place immediately after the point A cap, London wouldn't have had any of these resources to use in this fight. Carpe had the grab from the beginning, but only now does he use it, and in response London have both support ults to use, along with Prophet's rally as well. So the fight continues to play out. It's going badly for London at the moment because they weren't able to engage properly, but this charge from Gesture starts things off, gets the pin on the Brigitte, and now his team are going to start the counter fight. Now they can engage with their main tank. So Birdring comes in, high charge, starts beaming people down, and quickly London are able to take this fight back. So already there, in 2 quick fights, you can see the difference between playing aggressive, even when you're on defense, even when you're threatening to be steamrolled, and even when you're down ults, versus playing passive and waiting for the enemy team to come to you. Now, to further illustrate my point, and to show you that it wasn't just a one-off that will happen there, I'm going to show you another example on the same map from 2 completely different teams playing. Now here we have the first match between the Shanghai Dragons and the Dallas Fuel in stage 1 of season 2. And we can see here again we're on map 3 on Volskaya, and Shanghai Dragons have managed to take point A fairly easily. Now I've started this clip a little bit early because I want you to hear what the commentators are going to say in regards to how the situation looks for the Dallas Fuel.
There's a window here for a double cap.
Oh,
make no mistake, Grav plus EMP, and they know there's a tiny window before Unko has that last 20% of his Transcends. Closer's not even close. Dallas Fuel did not respect the high ground. The Dragons, lost that opening pick. They lost their opening member on Youngjin, but they had the high ground controlled, and there was more energy for DM. Dallas Fuel still engaged into it, and they paid the price.
So as you heard there, clearly the casters think that there's a really nice window here for the Shanghai Dragons to go in and steamroll Dallas Fuel. Now if we compare the ult advantage here, it's not as stark as it seemed in the Philadelphia Fusion v Spitfire game, but actually if you give it a closer look, you'll see that it is actually really bad as a situation for the Dallas Fuel. So for the Shanghai Dragons, they have a Transcendence, but more importantly they have an EMP, and they're just 4% away from a Graviton. So DM, who's already quite hard charged, 1 right click, a couple seconds of beaming, and he's going to have a Graviton ready. Now look on the other side, where all the Dallas Fuel have is a Shatter and an EMP. Now they are close to a Transcendence, but if DM gets the grab off before Unko gets his Transcendence, which is incredibly likely to happen, it doesn't matter how far away Unko is from Transcendence, because his team are going to get melted and his team are going to die instantly, because the EMP is going to shut everybody down. The Earth Shatter is quite a bad tool in this fight, because you can see how spread out already the Dragons are, and in the 3-3 meta, at this high level, Reinhardts are really good at blocking other Reinhardt Shatter. So this is a really bleak situation for the Dallas Fuel, and the only actual currency they have to win this fight is the EMP. And I've managed to somehow pause it in the exact frame before you're going to see how they decide to engage with this, again using this tactic of aggressive defense. So you'll see here RCK is about to set up for an EMP of his own, spoiler alert, and you can already see that OGE is ready to fight, AKM backed up by his Lucio is ready to fight. So Dallas Fuel are going to engage here, and you're going to see what happens when they pop the EMP before the Dragons have a chance.
15 on the clock as they touch B.
EMP going to be coming through, RCK open syncs, and that's going to be OG finding the first kill onto Gamsu. So decent turnaround is going to be shutting down that initial snowball, at least take away some time.
So if I rewind there, I'll talk you through it this time. So RCK pops his EMP, Luffy is already down to nothing, as Zenyatta's tend to do when they get EMP'd. DM also loses all his shields, and more importantly now, he cannot Graviton. In fact, it's a 6-man EMP, meaning no one in Shanghai Dragons can do anything. Gamsu gets isolated, and he has no possible support. There's no bubbles that can come save him. There's no armor pack that can burst heal him. So he gets deleted. Now Ding gets deleted because he'd already been ready to jump on point. He was about to EMP himself, but because he's shut out from abilities, he gets stuck in a really awful position. He gets killed. The rest of the dragons run out of the point with their tail between their legs, and the Dallas Fuel get a really nice hold. Now remember that they had one real ult, one real method of holding this point, and they use it really well. Because if Ding gets his EMP off first, and the roles are reversed, guaranteed the Dallas Fuel gets steamrolled, they end up losing point B for nothing. Now I'm going to fast forward to the next point, and you're going to see almost the exact same thing happen as happened with the London Spitfire Philadelphia Fusion game. The Dallas Fuel allow the Shanghai Dragons this time to engage into them, and this fight goes very badly for them. Now obviously because they won point A so convincingly, Shanghai Dragons still have a very nice ult lead over the Dallas Fuel, who only have 2 against the Dragons 4. But they are nearing 3 more ults of their own, so all they really need to do is buy some time. But instead, they decide to wait. They play quite passively. A grab goes down in the high ground, catching 3 players from the Dallas Fuel. However, there seems to be some sort of communication error, because as you can see, 2 of the dragons are down here. There's the Zenyatta. Their Lucio is just trying to come up to the high ground, so DM is on his own when he pops his Graviton. Ding is here on the low ground with Sombra. So Unko shows great patience and does not pop the trance. You can see he pokes his head out just to say, hey, my team okay? Oh, okay, they're fine. And he pops his head back in, and the Dallas Fuel are able to survive this Graviton. So that's one resource completely wasted from the Shanghai Dragons. Now if we look, things look great for the Dallas Fuel. They've got a Shatter, they've got a Coalescence, and they've almost got a Sound Barrier online. They've almost got a Rally, and AKM, should he get some high charge, will build up to a Graviton in no time. So theoretically, Dallas have all the tools they need, 3 support ults, to ward off this push. But you're going to see again, they're waiting, they're letting the dragons set up, and now OGE pushes in without the rest of his team. OG and Zachary going on their own, and you can see here that Unko is out of picture now already. He's not even looking. Closer has been left behind. AKM is nowhere in the picture, and RCK is nowhere in the picture. So again, some sort of miscommunication happens, and the Dallas Fuel engage half and half, so not properly. And now Shanghai Dragons are able to push in. They're able to bully their way onto the point, and an EMP goes down. Again, it's a really nice EMP, catches 4 members of the Dallas Fuel. And as Shanghai Dragon push in, unfortunately OGE is backed into a corner away from Unko, who you remember was hiding out in this corner here. So by the time he comes all the way around, it's too late. OGE gets burnt. Now this essentially is the reason, guys, why it's usually a bad idea to play really passively on defense and let the enemy team come into you. Because the advantage you have of being the aggressor is you get to pick not only your time of engagement, so you get to pick a time that's comfortable for you to fight, i.e. you can wait for all your cooldowns, you can wait for your speed boost, your bubble, your armor pack before you go in, but also you can pick your target and aggressively dive upon that target. So in this case, the dragons pick out OGE, and all of them are focused on this one character. Meanwhile, you can see the Dallas Fuel, they've been shepherded into corners, so they're all kind of split up, they're all kind of half and half, they're not even looking at the same person. So when you're the aggressor, when you pick the target, it's really easy for your own team to follow up in a coordinated manner and focus that target down together. But when you're suddenly being rushed upon, it's very difficult to not only call out the right target, but also ensure that the entirety of your team focuses that target back. And there's only really one team in Overwatch League who are good enough with their coordination and their understanding of the game to get away with playing passively, allowing the enemy team to come onto them, and then still managing to stay so calm under that pressure and pick the right target and win the fight. But that's the subject of another video at another time. And as you can see here, without their main tank, this fight is going to go quite badly for the Dallas Fuel. Shatter goes out on the left side, wipes out 2 members, and now the classic slow respawn juggle is not going to be enough for the Dallas Fuel. They isolate Unko, then they isolate Zachary, and it's just a bit of a free-for-all. RCK gets hacked before he can get his EMP off, which is quite big. But now you see trickling in one by one. It's always going to be a tough ask, and if you can focus targets correctly, there's really no reason you should lose a fight once you build some sort of imposing position on the point and point B. So there you have it, guys. 2 points on the 2CP map Volskaya Industries, and 2 mirrored outcomes. The defensive team in both cases are in danger of being steamrolled, and despite an ult advantage, they recognize that their only chance of winning is to be aggressive in the defense, use the few resources they have to set up the engage for themselves rather than wait for the enemy team to use all these massive ultimates that they have ready in their pocket. So when you go into your games, don't wait for the enemy team to use those 5 ultimates that they have. If you have even 1 or 2 of your own, find a way to get the most value out of those and be really assertive. Try to get a pick, try to disrupt people, as Jester did in the second attack, and make sure that at worst, you buy time for other ultimates to come online for your team, and at best, you get 1 or 2 picks and you win the fight right there. Because as we saw, in the subsequent fights, in the follow-up fights, where the attacking team came in for a second time, when attackers on a control point are given the time to set up their attack, choose their target, pick their time of engagement, and use their ult advantage in their favor, they're always going to win out 9 times out of 10. So even when you've just lost the point, make sure you're paying attention, because if you don't, you're almost certainly going to get steamrolled. So that's all I got for today, guys. Hope you found this video helpful, and I'm quite excited about the series because there's really a lot of things to learn from watching Overwatch League. And I know none of us are Carpe or Jonak, but even if we can try and understand these small principles and apply them to our games, I think it can really elevate some of our ladder experiences or our pug experiences in organized scrim matches. Speaking of which, I do host pugs on Friday and Saturday on my Discord server, and the link for that is down below. So if you want to try out some strats that you saw in Overwatch League, come on down. And as always, a huge shout out to my patrons who are really awesome and help me make these videos. So that's it from me, and I'll see you guys soon in another video.